everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. We were planning on bringing you a video today from out in the garden. You guys, we have a lot of work to do to get our garden area ready. But you guys, it is so windy outside that we couldn't even get our camera to stand up. We're getting 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts and it is just crazy outside.
Then we decided to do this video that we're doing today. We were going to do it out in the greenhouse, but it's so windy that it's so loud in the greenhouse that we couldn't film this video out there, so we had to move into the dining room today. So we are excited to bring you some really great information today, and it just so happens to be in the house.
Here in southern Missouri, it has just been a crazy windy spring. I don't know if it's been like that everywhere. Leave it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. I'm just curious, is it just us here? Or are we just getting this wind and nobody else is? But you guys, this kind of wind that we're getting today, like 20, 30, 40 mile an hour gusty days, has just kind of been the norm for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
It's really been relentless.
It has.
Really has.
And it's really put kind of a hindrance on a lot of the things that we can get done outside. So anyway, we don't mean to complain. It's just a fact of life. When you're a farmer, you want to get things done outside. And sometimes God just has another plan.
Right. But we do have some fantastic information to share with you guys. Kevin and I have been selling at our local farmers market for, I think this is our 7th season.
I think so.
And then prior to this, at our urban homestead in the Phoenix area, we did have a farm stand outside of our house for a couple seasons as well. So we have about 9 years of experience selling at some kind of farmer's market, and we've learned a lot of things along the way. We've had lots of questions from you guys over the years of us being on YouTube about selling at the farmer's market. And so this morning, Kevin and I kind of gathered all of our thoughts and kind of categorized the information that we have to share with you. And so today we're just gonna give you guys our advice and our thoughts on selling at the farmer's market.
So like Sarah said, we get a lot of questions either asked on YouTube or even emailed to us from you guys about selling at a farmer's market and kind of how to get started, what products to sell, and all of that. So that's what we want to touch on today. Now, when we first started at selling at the farmer's market, we made what I would consider kind of a classic mistake, and that is to just take a lot of things to the farmer's market and just try to make money selling at the farmer's market in every possible way that we could. So on any given week, we might have at our booth baked goods, vegetables, plant starts, woodworking projects, eggs,
soap, salve.
So we just had everything at our booth. And while we did do okay with some of that, we never really got known for one certain thing. And because of that, we never built up a real loyal customer base. Over time,
not only did that kind of overwhelm us, having to worry about all these different things to get ready for the farmer's market, we decided to just pare down and come up with 1 or 2 things that we wanted to specialize in. That way we could put all of our energy and attention on that one product and offer that at the farmer's market.
What this does also is it gives you a chance to become known for that one thing within your local community. So like us, you know now that we really only sell plant starts at our local farmers market. So that's what we do every spring. We have customers now who come back year after year because they know that the plants that we sell are good quality, that they've had good success with them, and that we will have the varieties that they want year after year.
And so it's great to become the specialist in one product if you can, or at least people know you as, oh, she's the person that makes homemade soap. He's the person that sells produce. They're the people that sell plant starts. The belt guy,
right.
the cookie lady. So we actually feel like that is one of the most important things for you to decide when you're going to start selling at a farmer's market. What is going to be your specialty?
So kind of along that same lines, once you figure out what your specialty is going to be, it's going to be very important for you to learn the laws and regulations, not only of your specific farmer's market, but of your state or your county that you live in. Every state is going to have its own laws as far as like cottage food laws, what you can and can't sell out of a home-based kitchen, what you can sell out of a home-based greenhouse like we have. And so you need to learn all of those laws for your state to make sure that you're not unknowingly breaking some laws that could get you in trouble when you take your products to the farmer's market.
And on the farmer's market level, there will be certain rules about what you can and can't sell, how you can sell them. Each farmer's market has different fees for selling at their farmer's market. Some have a seasonal fee, while there's also like a day vendor fee. Some farmers markets require that each vendor have a liability policy that covers the farmers market as well. So it's good for you to get familiar with all of those things before you start selling at the farmers market.
Right. Now, typically, farmers markets in bigger cities are going to have more of those types of regulations than they are in the smaller communities like ours. Our farmers market here really has very few rules for the actual vendors at the market. But there are some things that, you know, and another reason why to specialize in something is because there are some things even like at our market, like animals are placed over on one side of the market where food and plants and things are on another side so that there's not contamination there. So if you came to the market with, say, baked bread and rabbits for sale, you might have to split up. You might not be able to have both of those at the same spot within the market. So that's something to keep in mind as well, and another reason to kind of specialize in one thing. Right.
Another important reason to specialize and figure out what you're going to concentrate on is to help you with marketing. Marketing outside of the farmer's market to advertise for your product and get people to come to the farmer's market, but also to market yourself within the farmer's market, like your booth.
Now, one thing that I think a lot of people kind of overlook when they start selling at a farmer's market is the need to look professional. You may not consider yourself a professional when you first start selling at a farmer's market. You might think, I'm just someone who bakes cookies in my kitchen, or I'm just someone who starts some plants in my, in my small greenhouse. And I'm not really a professional, so there's no need to look professional. I can tell you from someone who's been there and done that really is a mistake, and that you really do want to put your best foot forward when you're out in front of the customer. One comment that we get a lot at our local farmers market is that people come by and they will tell us, wow, everything here looks so clean, so organized, so well labeled. Your products and your atmosphere just seems professional when we come up to your booth. And because of that, we get a lot of sales that we may have lost if people walked by and we're just kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I want to buy something from that person, especially when you're talking about like food type items and things like that. If you don't look professional, or you don't look like your items are clean or well taken care of, you're going to lose sales from people who don't want to buy from someone in that environment.
We have put a lot of thought and energy into this for our booth and for selling our products at the farmer's market. And we want to draw attention to our product. We want to draw attention to our booth. And we want people to start associating the name of our business with our product, our faces, so that word gets out and then they are returning customers. So at our booth, we make sure that we have banners up that tell our business name and what we are selling, our product. We make sure that all of our products are labeled with what it is and our business name. There's that association again. This year we're wearing t-shirts with our business name on them, hats with our business name on them, and all of that put together with a really great product is really working out for us. It's really doing well for us. All of that forethought is paying off, and we really do recommend that you also think a lot about that.
Right. Along with that is knowing your product. When you talk
Yes.
about being professional, you really need to know the product that you're selling. Now, at our farmers market, let's just take tomato plant starts, for example, that we sell. We sell a lot of varieties of tomatoes. They're not all tomatoes that we grow every year in our garden because, as you guys know, we have our favorites that we grow every year. But there are varieties that over time we've learned that customers in our area enjoy, so we grow those varieties just for the farmers market. Now, when people come up and ask questions, we need to know the answer to those questions about every single plant that we're selling. We should be able to tell them kind of, what the basics of that kind of tomato are, what the tomato looks like, if it's a pink tomato or a orange tomato or a yellow tomato, and how big the plants are going to get, and whether or not it's going to be a prolific producer or it's going to have a smaller. We just need to know everything about the product, and no matter what you're selling, you should be able to answer those questions for your customer easily, and you should be able to anticipate what customers are going to ask you before they even come up to your booth.
And I think your confidence in the information that you're giving out to the customers and your confidence that you are exhibiting about your product makes a huge difference. It makes them feel more confident about buying from you.
Right. If you're excited about your product, then they'll be excited about your product as well. Another big thing that I think people overlook is marketing. Not just when you're at the farmer's market, but marketing outside of the farmer's market. We live in a world today where this is really easier than ever. In the past, you may have had to call your local radio station or put an ad in the newspaper. But we live in a world now where through social media, either Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or whatever social media you're using, you can use that to your advantage to reach out to your customers, maybe starting on Thursday if the market is on Saturday, so that people will know that you're going to be there, what you're going to have, and what they can come to the market expecting from you.
You guys may have noticed that this year during the farmers market season, we've been putting out a YouTube short video reminding you guys that we are going to be at the farmers market, and sometimes we tell you the varieties we're going to be bringing and those kinds of things. It is good to be in front of your customers ahead of time to let them know and to remind them that you're going to be out selling your product. Another important thing when selling at the farmers market is making sure that your products are very presentable. Every week before we go to the farmers market, we look at all of our plants and make sure that they look the best that they possibly can for the farmers market. If they're not looking their best, they either stay back for a week and we see if next week they're going to look good enough to take to the market, or sometimes they just need to go into the compost pile. But so it's important to have a very, very good looking product at the farmers market and have it be labeled very appealingly. There are lots of wonderful baked goods at the farmers market, soap, salves, those kinds of things. And I really do think that professional labeling and ingredients that are in your product are clearly marked. And I think there's a huge difference between those people who are successful with good labeling, good product information, and those that don't pay as much attention to those things.
And along those same lines, and this may seem like kind of a no-brainer, but we see this happen quite often at a lot of different places that we go, not just the farmers market, but that is to be friendly.
Yes.
When people walk by your booth, greet them.
Yeah.
If it's early in the morning, say good morning. If it's, if you can make some chit chat about the weather, say something about the weather, but be friendly and be inviting. You would be surprised how many people walk by our booth at the farmers market, don't even look like they're going to stop, but as soon as you start to engage them, they'll stop. Even if they just stop to talk, eventually they will normally stop and also start looking at what you have, or ask you what you have, or ask you about the products that you sell. And that's a way to get people in and to just build community. You'd be surprised how many people now we see at the farmers market that I'm not even sure if some of them buy from us, but I talk to them every single week when they come down the row of our farmers market, and it's just a good way to meet people within your community and to be able to answer any questions. But you guys, just be friendly when you're at the farmer's market.
I know it can be uncomfortable sometimes, especially when you're starting, and it's easier just to sit at your table and wait for somebody to come over to you. But if you're talking to them and engaging them and inviting them over, that is going to get more attention from your booth.
Right. And one thing that I'll just say this, and maybe it's an age thing, but stay off your phones.
Yeah.
We see so many people who, there's customers that come right up to their booth and they're too busy doing this to even notice that they have a customer standing at their booth. So, again, make eye contact, just be friendly and engage your customer, and you will go light years ahead of the people who just sit behind their table and wait for the customers.
Right, and one reminder that I'm always giving our girls, because they help us at the farmer's market, is when there are no customers, keep standing in front, standing facing the customers. Don't have your back to the table or your back to the customers. Always be standing looking for people. It just is much more inviting.
So now probably the number one question that we get asked about selling at a farmer's market, and that is, how do we price our products? How do you determine what to set your prices at when you're at the farmer's market? There is a lot of advice on this topic. But we're going to give you kind of the way that we have done it over the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 years, and some advice about how to not sell yourself short.
Right. So we cannot tell you in your part of the country how much you should charge for plant starts or cookies or bread or whatever, because there is such a difference regionally how much to charge for your product, but it can even be like within a certain county. Like we could charge way more for our plant starts in Springfield than we can in Ava, Missouri. It's just different. Big city versus rural, it's different. So you need to figure out what the best price is for your area and for your market.
And really, you guys, the easiest way to do that is to, first of all, maybe attend the market for a season before you ever even go. But if you don't have the opportunity to do that, like say you move somewhere and you just want to start selling right away that first year that you're there, go to the other vendors that are selling. Maybe that first week you leave your signs or your signs that you're going to have on your booth a little generic. Maybe you don't put prices on signs that first week, or you do chalkboards or something that you can change. Talk to the other people that are selling at the market and kind of see if you guys can come to a consensus about what your product should be selling for. A lot of times the other vendors are going to be very open to kind of getting together and saying, hey, let's keep all of our prices about the same so that, we're not all competing against each other based strictly on price.
Sometimes it's very tempting to put your price just a little bit lower than everybody else's, because that way you'll sell more than everybody else and you'll get all of the business. And while it may be true that you might sell a little bit more, we actually don't recommend that you undercut the competition, the other people, other vendors in the farmer's market, because it's going to kind of leave a dirty mark on your record, on your reputation within the vendor circle. And it's actually really important to kind of stay within good standing within the vendor circle so that you continue to be welcomed and you all have a good relationship. Now, I'll kind of tell you something that we do that's kind of on the same lines as this. Now, we're always within the same price as everybody else, but there are times when there are other vendors that sell plant starts just like we do. And while it would be easy for us to be kind of vindictive or, oh, we don't want them to sell anything, we want all the business, what we do instead is we actually go over to those other vendors and take a look at their products. What are they offering that we are not offering, so that when we get customers looking for something they're offering, we can say, oh, we don't offer that this year, but so-and-so down the way, they do. And that way, we're almost working together and kind of facilitating good relationships with the other vendors, because we can say to the other vendors too, oh, you have Goliath tomatoes, we don't have those. We will make sure this, if somebody is looking for that at our booth, that we send them to your booth. And so they kind of feel like maybe doing the same. Come to your booth and see and so we're all kind of working together, and it just kind of gives a great relationship within the vendor circle, and kind of similar with pricing.
Right. Now, the other thing to go along with that, if you go back to the advice we gave you just a minute ago about being professional, if your products are professional, if they look good, if they're clean, if they're well labeled, if people can tell you've put a lot of time and energy into that product, there's no need to be the cheapest person there.
Oh, for sure.
In fact, a lot of times we're on the top end. We're at the higher end of what things are selling for at our market, and we still sell a lot because our products look professional. And really, I'm seeing a trend over the years, even just since we've been selling at the market, where more and more people are looking professional and really trying to do the best that they can.
And really the last piece of advice, or the last tidbit of information that we want to share with you guys, is to take good notes during that farmer's market season for what you need to do differently for next year. What are people asking for that you didn't offer that you could offer next year? Did you prepare too many products of one kind and next year you need to do less? Or did you completely underestimate how many you were going to be selling, and so next year you can, do more? Right.
And this is tough because, and I'll tell you guys, this is an area where we struggle because sometimes it's hard to know what is going to be popular a certain year. There's trends that happen. Like in our situation, one year a certain tomato might be super popular because maybe there's, some YouTubers that are talking about a certain type of tomato, and so that year everybody wants that type of tomato, but the next year nobody might want that tomato. So it's tough, and we're not saying that this is something that comes easily, but I agree, you got to take good notes at the end. You have to do it during and right after farmers market season, so that you have those notes to look back to when you begin the next year, because it's easy to kind of forget what you've learned, or easy to kind of, sugarcoat everything as you get into the next season. I mean, when we get to, when we're at the end of farmers market season, we know, like, okay, we shouldn't have grown this many of this variety or whatever. But when you get to January of the next year, you might be like, oh, I think those went pretty well. Let's even increase for this year, which would be a mistake. So yes, good notes are worth their weight in gold when it comes to preparing for the market.
So you guys, that is our advice about selling at the farmer's market. We know it might seem like a lot of information, it might seem like a lot of work, but you guys, it is very enjoyable. And I think that one of the things that we enjoy most about selling at the farmer's market is the sense of community that we have felt, meeting all of you, meeting a lot of other people within our local community.
Right.
It really is one of the best parts about selling at the farmer's market.
Right, and for a lot of people that we meet, farmers market time might be the only time we see them all year, but it's amazing to me, honestly, how much we enjoy seeing the same people year after year, and just, seeing that how things have worked out for the year for them, and just, it's a good sense of community. I think it's something that has gotten lost as we become this more like online community, and it's like we've lost this kind of face-to-face, let's be part of each other's lives. And I think the farmer's market is a fantastic place. Even if you're not selling, I would highly recommend that you start going to your local farmer's market and really trying to build that community, because it really is an important thing that we're losing as a society.
So you guys, we hope you enjoyed sitting down with us today and learning more about the farmer's market. I hope that it inspired some of you to give it a try one of these years. If you're enjoying our videos, we sure would appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button to our channel. And also remember that the best way that you can help us here on the homestead is just to share our videos on your social media. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.